Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to take your dresser to a new level with hot glue decals. So I am going to take you back to the very beginning of how I flipped this piece and take you all the way through to when I started making the hot glue decals. So if you do not want to see all of the prep that was involved in flipping this dresser, then please just skip ahead. No worries, but I wanted to show those that are beginners how to take a piece from the very beginning and what I did through the entire process to get hot glue decals. It's very easy, it doesn't cost a lot of money, and I like using this more than epoxy because epoxy is expensive. If you want a cheaper materials that you probably have laying around your house, then hot glue is the way to go. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. So this is the dresser that I had gotten for free from a friend, and let's start with the very beginning. The first thing you're going to want to do is remove all of the hardware. You wouldn't believe the amount of dirt and grime that is underneath those hardware pieces. Once you've got hardware taken off and all the drawers pulled out, it's time to vacuum the inside and the outside. I also vacuum in all of the drawers and underneath them as well. Then I take my favorite cleaner. This is Wise Owl's Strip and Clean Refinishing Cleaner, and this is really going to get all of the dirt and grease and grime, and it's even so strong it will remove some finishes. I do like to take an old toothbrush or a little bristle brush and get in the grooves and curves of all those hard to reach places. Cleaning your piece is absolutely the #1 most important thing when it comes to refinishing or painting. This right here just shows you how dirty and dusty it is and the part that I didn't clean, and then this is the part that I did clean. So the next thing that I'm going to do is use my favorite wood filling putty, but it's pretty toxic, so you're going to want to put a mask on, and this is my favorite respirating mask from RZ. If you check the description here in my video, I will have this linked if you want to check it out. So I'll also link the Bondo putty that I'm using. This is the glazing and spot putty, and it is so great for just getting little nicks and dings and tiny scratches. While I wait for that glazing putty to dry, I'm going to fill the hardware holes. So this is a way that I've started refilling hardware holes, and you take just a little dowel, cut off a tiny little piece, put it in the hole, and then use the glazing and spot putty to go over it. Once I have filled the holes, it's time to sand everything smooth. So for this piece, I started with the base, and I knew that I wanted to leave that base a little raw, but I also knew that I wanted to cut it to make it a little bit more modern. This is my favorite sanding system. It's called the Surfprep sanding system. I have a 3x5 ray, so I'll put that also in the description. Now it's time to cut off those little curved angles, and I had started using my jigsaw for this, and it was just taking so long to cut. I actually think my blades need to be replaced. So I got out a hammer and just a little spreading knife, I guess what you could call it, and I was able to get off some of those pieces. As you can see here, I went back in with a jigsaw and made it a lot smoother. When I first began refinishing, I honestly probably would not have even messed with a base, but now that I've been doing it for a while, it's a lot easier. So I was able to really trim it down, and now I will sand it nice and smooth to give it that nice curved look. So here I'm also just using a little sanding tool to get into the little grooves. Now, since I know where I want my hardware to go, I really do like drilling holes before I have painted. This way I don't get any mistakes on my freshly painted piece. For this piece, all I'm doing is just drilling exactly in the center of these two holes. And they're really small, so I can pretty much eyeball it. I didn't show you in this video, but before this step, I had actually sanded down all of the spot putty that you saw me do in the original video. After sanding it down nice and smooth, I cleaned everything with just a water spray bottle. I don't like to use any sort of degreasers or chemicals before I paint because I don't want any of that residue to be left on. So after I'm done sanding, all I do is clean with water. So here you see me putting the first coat of primer on. For this piece, I actually did two because I did have some bleed through with the tannins of the wood, but it usually just takes one. And here I'm using Wise Owl's Stain Eliminating Primer in white. So once you prime, you're able to see even more nicks and dings that you didn't see when the piece was just wood. The wood really does camouflage it. So here you see, after I primed, I went back through and filled all these little nicks with my glazing and spot putty, let it dry, and here I'm sanding it again. And I sanded with a 320 grit. You really want to go nice and light. And then once you're done sanding, clean it well with water, and then it's time to paint. The color I'm using today is from Farmhouse Paint. It's their Evolution line, and this is Cosmic White. It sprays absolutely beautiful. As you can see, this is real time. I didn't speed this up at all. Some of my spraying tips are go nice and slow in a nice smooth pattern, and make sure that you're crossing over what you've already sprayed so you don't have any missed lines. You can see here I'm using cardboard to protect the base. I didn't have any more painter's tape, so I used cardboard so that I wouldn't get paint on the raw wood that I wanted to keep. Since the drawers do overhang, this is how I paint them. I take a piece of cardboard and I spray the edges. If the piece has flush drawers with the frame, then I will just spray with them in, but I really like to do them separately when there is overhang. Once all the pieces are dry, they're all lined up here, and as you can see, I actually did wallpaper before I painted them because I was waiting for the paint to come in. But the paint covered beautifully, it looks nice and smooth, and it's just a great finish. So if you were really observant, you will notice that this is not the same color and not the same wallpaper that I had used for this white dresser. I don't know what happened to that footage, so I'm here to show you how I wallpaper my drawers. So just ignore the color, but this is the same process that I use for every dresser. So I'm gonna first measure and then cut along the line, and I'm just gonna peel back the first quarter of the paper before lining it up on the front of the drawer. You also want to make sure that your drawers are nice and clean and don't have any dirt or lint or anything like that. So here I'm lining it up, and once I get it lined up, I'm going to smooth it down just to the back, and then I'm going to take my smoothing tool and just go through and make sure all the bubbles are out and that it's nice and tight. I also like to make a crease with my smoothing tool just so it makes it easier with my X-Acto knife. I then get out my X-Acto knife and I cut along that crease that I had just made with my smoothing tool and pull off the extra wallpaper, and that's about it. So now I'm going to show you how I actually made my molds. You're going to buy your molds from wherever and grab your glue gun and put all of the hot glue in each of the shapes. It will level on its own, so don't worry if you feel like it looks a little bumpy. Once it's dry, pop it out and just peel off any little excess pieces that you see. Once you've got them all cleaned up the way you want them, it's time to paint them. I would probably paint them by hand the next time because my sprayer was blowing them all over the place. Then you're going to want to put them out on your piece so you have a good idea of where you want them to go. As you can see, I always have a little buddy in my videos. They love being out here in the garage with me. So now you're going to go through and you're going to glue each and every one of the pieces in the design that you had pre-created. As you can see, this took me such a long time. I had so many little pieces that I had to glue down, but honestly, the time is totally worth it. There you just saw me peeling off some little extra glue spots that I hadn't seen before. So as with hot glue, you sometimes do have little tails of the hot glue that didn't get picked all the way off. So the next thing to do is just to put your hardware on and then stage it. This was my first time using Farmhouse paint in their Evolution line, and I really did love it. It was super easy to use, and I love making these decals out of hot glue. It's way cheaper than epoxy, and you can get just the same beautiful results with it. So I don't know about you guys, but I feel like these molds and the wallpaper and the hardware just elevate this piece so much. If you remember what it looked like before, it was this dark, drab, just anybody would have this dresser in their house. And now we've created a truly unique design that is custom, and nobody else has a dresser that is exactly like this. So if you liked this video, please subscribe and comment below what color you would have painted this piece if you don't like the white. Bye guys!